Join the conversation 0586861003. Lachlan Kitchen and Neil Odger here today. The last day. Neil is with us for the year, so now's your last chance to get a question in or speak to him before he goes on holidays. One thing we've been spoken about, well, probably more than any other topic outside sport, has been real estate, especially in Dubai.
Oh, absolutely. With the dynamic changes that have happened in this year itself, the last couple of years with COVID taking over, the rates went down to literally bottom. You could have rented probably a villa at Palm and still saved ₹3 from your salary, but not to be so this year.
It's extraordinary. Rental market records are apparently up 27.3% this year. To join us from Ricciardo Scala Real Estate, Ricciardo Scala, thanks again for joining us here on Talk 100.3.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are we doing today?
We're doing good. How are you going with all the sleep? Have you been staying up and watching all the games at Qatar 2022 and surviving?
I've been enjoying it. Yeah, I've been watching pretty much everything so far, and then I was fortunate enough to go last night to the Dubai Cup as well and watch Arsenal against AC Milan as well. That was good.
Wow, that was. How did the teams look in pre-season?
I mean, everything was 50% pace, wasn't it? But at the same time, it was still nice to see, and it was a great atmosphere for Dubai.
Well, these attractions are one of the reasons that so many people are wanting to move to the city. We're seeing, and we've known for a long time, Ricciardo, that there's been strong double-digit growth this year. But the CBRE have indicated that average asking rents rose 27.3% in the year to November 2022. How much pressure is this putting on existing tenants to vacate so landlords can increase their price?
I mean, with a 27.3% increase in the year on average, it's if I can use the word bonkers,
yeah,
for it to go up as much as that would be a fitting word to express. And it does put a lot of pressure on tenants nowadays, because landlords, of course, are looking for their prices to increase their rental investment to go up, and it is giving that pressure to tenants to perform or to be able to try and meet these rental increases. So yeah.
No, so whenever a tenant is looking to probably have a renewal of contract, okay, and the landlord is definitely within his right to go up with the rates, because the rates in Dubai are going up. How much can he go up, or is it like trying to just put undue pressure on the tenant so that he vacates?
I mean, legally, if you're following the rental index calculator set forth by RERA, a landlord, based upon rental increases, can go up about 20% in a year if we have the justification to show that, which of course we have seen that this past 12 months. Mm-hmm. So tenants should be expecting landlords to come in with that type of request. Some landlords come in with a lot higher, and some landlords who appreciate their tenants and who have valued those tenants for maybe a number of years are a little bit more understanding that the prices are going up. They are in their rights to be able to ask for more, but they want their good tenant to stay in the property without finding it too difficult to afford to do it.
Yeah, because it might seem attractive to put the rents up, and then you get the disastrous tenant that destroys the apartment, and it's not worth the investment. So going back on that, it's a misnomer that landlords can only increase your rent as an existing tenant by 10%. They can go up to 20% in some areas.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to go onto the Dubai Land Department, for example, if you were to go onto an internet search and type in RERA index calculator, very simply, it will come up on top of the list. Click on that. You now have the opportunity to put your contract number in from your Ijari that you have in place, and the system will now give you the opportunity to then tell you straight away, it'll register what property you're in, it'll tell you what the regulated price increase will be. There will be a price increase because, of course, the market has went up, but it'll tell you what the price increase will be in line with RERA regulations.
No, you're absolutely right, because I was telling Kitch a while back that my contract was up upon renewal right now, and I had got a notice 3 months back saying that, hey, we'll be increasing the rents by about 5%, and and if you're okay with that, please just reply to this email saying yes, because if you don't by such and such date, we will understand that you don't want to continue with us. And I checked the market outside, and I was like, hey, this 5% increase is bearable as compared to what the market is demanding right now.
And to be honest with you, what your landlord has done with you is exactly the correct procedure. Mm-hmm. All landlords have an obligation to notify their tenants 90 days before
Right.
their tenancy contract expires. And that can be in the form of email or general correspondence to notify you that, hey, there is going to be a rental and we just want to let you know. If you choose not to respond, then you have no option, basically. But if you then, my advice would be to basically say, listen, respond and have a conversation with the landlord. I'm a big fan, of course, of communication. That's my job, and that's what I do on a daily basis. And it's giving yourself the opportunity to have a friendly, amicable conversation with your landlord to work out the right type of pricing. If you had a 5% increase on your rent, that's a really good landlord that you have. Definitely.
No, you're absolutely right. But then again, see, some of the units are single owned, right? I mean, there's an individual who owns it and he's managing it himself. Some of the units or some of the buildings, in fact, would have management companies managing them, because maybe the whole building is owned by a person. So in those cases, is there a chance of negotiation or trying to talk your landlord into or the management company into probably getting a sweeter deal?
Yeah, I mean, there is always the scope for negotiation. Always that possible. With companies managing a property, or for example, if you live in a building that is owned by one owner and there's multiple properties in that, and of course the company's going to manage it, but they'll have their parameters set forth on what they can do and what they can't, and they're doing their job. They'll tell you exactly what they can do and what they can't do. If you're wanting to negotiate past that, then that sometimes has to be escalated to higher management, which can sometimes take a little bit more time to do. And I would always advise that if that's what you're wanting to do, give yourself plenty notice, because it's important to know that while I said the landlord's obligation is also to give you 90 days notification, it's also the tenant's obligation contractually that you have to let your landlord know that you would like to stay. So it's very important that it happens on both sides as well.
Well, we saw a couple of months ago that the Ministry of Economy here in the UAE actually said that UAE's inflation will fall next year. Do you see this impacting property prices or any sort of averaging out of the property prices? Because it seems as though this growth can't be sustainable.
Everyone I talk to says the same thing, that surely the rental prices can't keep on going up this level. I think when it comes to sale prices, that's a different conversation.
Yes.
When we're talking about rent, surely the rental prices can't keep going up at the rate they've been going up. And I do agree with that. I think there will be a slight correction. I do feel at this time of the year right now, a lot of peers in the industry are saying to me it's a little bit quieter as well. And possibly towards the end of this year into January, we don't know, but it might get a little bit softer, which gives landlords the opportunity to keep their tenants, and it gives tenants the opportunity to get the right type of rental deal for them to stay in their properties too.
Right. Now, you were also, we were talking about the landlord's obligation of giving 90 days notice period. A similar obligation also falls on tenants, right? When the market is bullish, where everything is literally going up, and all of a sudden, someone who's signed up for a year gets a sweeter deal someplace else and wants to move out. So are there any rules and regulations that say that, listen, you will be fined and you'll have to pay 3 months rent and whatever to the landlord? How does that work?
So every rental contract is slightly different depending on the brokerage or the agency that's taking care of it. But in general, if you're a tenant that finds a better deal somewhere else, it is your obligation to give the mandatory 90 days notice. Now, some contracts will say on that contract you only need to give 6 weeks notice or 8 weeks notice.
Okay.
But in general, the general rule of thumb and what should be there contractually should be that it's 90 days notice. And if you're given that 90 days notice, then you're giving yourself the chance to be respectful to the landlord trying to find a new tenant because you're not wanting to stay, and at the same time you're giving yourself plenty of time to get moved out as well. So that's also important to remember too.
Well, it's an interesting time, and I think that Ricciardo, it's always great to get your insight and make sure you can and you keep us updated. Lastly, any thoughts on who's going to win tonight? Is it going to be France that make it through?
as a complete neutral in this scenario, because of course Italy never got to the World Cup, and of course I'm half Scottish as well, so Scotland never gets to the World Cup. I've been enjoying the whole process and enjoying it, looking on as a fan of the game. I would love to see Morocco get into the final of the World Cup. It's going to be a hard challenge because France are fantastic, but personally I would love to see an Argentina-Morocco final.
Yeah, I think either way we're going to be in for a good match on Sunday. Ricciardo Scala from Ricciardo Scala Real Estate. Thanks again for your time this afternoon.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, there we go. So getting some of those insights after the rental market has recorded a huge 27.3% increase this year. And if you do want to find out, as we said, the place to go to, the Land Department have got that website, dubailand.gov.au, where if you do input your title deed number, your certificate year, property type, contract, and, therefore you can see where your place is priced on the rental index.
Yeah, this is a good way to actually see if your landlord is trying to get more than what is right as per the RERA, and it gives you an insight on if you're trying to be just too difficult because the prices are going up.
0586 861